Hello everyone, myself Sanat Kumar Swai, Assistant Professor at Vedang of Technology, Bhubaneswar. I hope you are all doing well. In this today's class, we'll be discussing about change. However, in the previous classes also we have discussed about change, organizational change. But particularly in today's class, we'll be discussing about certain forces, okay, how that forces act as stimulants to various kinds of organizational change, okay. So what we'll do is that we'll go through few slides, a few examples will be undertaking, and then we'll see how that is going to, what kind of forces are there and how they are going to act as stimulant to change, and how whether that changes are actually required for any kind of organizational growth or not. We'll be looking at few examples. Okay, so let's start. Now, introduction, understanding change. Okay, in the previous classes also we have discussed about changes. Okay, now see what exactly is change. Whether change is important, we need to give importance to a lot of changes or not. Okay, see what happens is that change is inevitable in the personal aspect and as well as on in a organizational settings also. You will see that it is inevitable, means it's bound to happen. We cannot stop change. Can you stop change? No, we cannot stop change. It is bound to happen. Okay, so there's a saying like go with the flow. Yeah, go with the flow. What happens, you cannot cross the river, I mean grow across the channel, I mean current of the river. It becomes difficult, though you can to certain e- extent. If you're uh, going um, against the current of the river, then that becomes difficult. But imagine if you're going with the flow of the river, that becomes pretty much easier for you to flow. Okay, so change is going to happen, change is inevitable, we cannot stop change, but how we are going to grow in that change, that is that is our personal I mean uh, way to grow. I mean, how we are going to adapt to those changes, and we are going to uh, use that in our growth, personal growth or organizational growth. Okay. Next, it can be driven by internal or external factors. See, changes. There are a lot of internal factors. There are a lot of external factors. Internal factors, some way we can see that yes, we have certain control over it. Yeah, but external factor we don't have any control. Okay, so by any ways change is going to happen in your life or in your organization. So we have to accept and we have to adapt to those changes whichever comes in our way. Okay, next, if you're talking about India, the socio-economic diversity and rapid development, okay, creates a unique stimulant to change. Okay, in our country you will see that we have a diversity, socio-economic diversity is very much high, and you'll see the development process these days. You'll okay, in this particular era you will see, okay, it is very much rampant and it is very much rapid. Okay, so those creates a unique stimulant to change. Okay, now we'll go through certain examples. Okay, economic forces. What do you mean by economic forces? Economic forces like economic growth and development. So what happens that India shifts towards a digital economy. Earlier it was not, our economy was not digital economy. Okay, but with a lot of initiatives which have come way like Digital India initiatives. Okay, so the development, the economic development has gone up. The economic growth has gone up. Okay, so you see these IT companies, the IT services, okay, e-commerce, okay, renewable energy sectors. Okay, so this has brought a transformative change in our economic growth and development. Okay, particularly you will see that the UPI is unified payment uh, uh, interface. Okay, so what that exactly means, that UPI, you see everywhere you go, you can pay by UPI. Okay, even if yes, it's a penny, even if that's 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees, doesn't matter, you can pay through. So people are not using uh, uh, not They're not getting, I mean, earlier they used to pay by cash, but right now you'll see that UPI has brought a revolution in the payment transaction sector. Okay, so that is a part of that economic growth and development. Okay, now what is the impact of that? It encourages business to adopt digital transformation. So definitely when there is an economic development, okay, and there is a economic growth in our country, so what happens that the businesses, okay, the business sector, they are bound, and that encourages them that yes, we are going to adapt to this kind of digital transformation. Okay, next, technological forces. The first one is economic forces, this is technological forces. So technological forces, technological advancement, we can say. Okay, so you see, technological advancements are one of the major driver of change. Definitely, if there is technology, if there is an innovation in the technology, so that, see, people, they don't, right now, I believe that every person, every single person in our country, they have a mobile phone. You tell me, a couple of years back, how many people had a mobile phone? So how come we are able to afford a mobile phone? As because there is a technological innovation. Yes or no? So that becomes a major driver for change. Okay. Adoption of 5G technology. Earlier we used to have 2G. So there is a transformation from 2G to 5G. And they are working right now on 6G. What do you mean by G? G means generation, yeah? Second generation, fifth generation. Okay. So what happens is that, what is the impact of these kinds of technological advancement is that it redefines communication, work culture, and customer interaction. We have a better way of communication, we have a better work culture, and also the customer interaction becomes much better through these technological forces, right? Next, political and legal forces. How the political and legal forces are going to impact? Okay, you see, we have a lot of government policies and regulations. Okay, earlier there were a lot of taxes. Okay, um, when the goods passed through one state to other, okay, they used to have different kinds of state taxes being levied on them. So the government brought, I'm not going to discuss about GST, but little bit, I mean, just an overview of the GST. Okay, so what happened that the government started a uniform way of collecting tax. Okay, so they bought the GST, like goods and service taxes. Okay, which has been, and Make in India initiative. So that is a I mean, the GST is a pan India initiative. Okay, everybody has to follow. Okay, so what happens is that through this, the GST implementation of GST, it streamlined system. Earlier there was no streamlined way of taxing. Okay, right now it has been streamlined. Okay, so what happens through that, the businesses, they have to reconfigure their operation. So that brought a change, as because the businesses, they are reconfiguring, that means they are actually changing, isn't it? Whether they want or not, that's a different scenario, but they are reconfiguring, that means they are changing. Yeah. Now, what is the impact? Organization adapt to compliance needs and explore efficiency improvement. So they are adapting to the various compliances which are required for efficient improvement in those changes. Okay, so that is the impact. So see, definitely political and legal force also have certain impact on the change system, right? Next, social and cultural forces. So social and cultural forces, what are the and cultural forces? See, sometimes we have to change the social dynamics of any uh, um, um, any community, any society, any place. Okay, so what happens, how we are going to do that? We have to increase awareness of gender equality, education, environmental sustainability. So that also will be able to bring out certain changes which are required in the organizational perspective. Okay, so for example, rise of women entrepreneurs supported by initiatives like Stand Up India. So various government initiatives have been taken, like Stand Up India, which is particularly focused on the women entrepreneurs. Okay, so women entrepreneur, how we need to make the women entrepreneur, I mean, grow in a more significant way through various kinds of initiatives like Stand Up India. Okay, so what is the impact of that? Impact is that organizational embrace diversity and inclusive policies. So the certain policies which are been which require diversity and which requires inclusiveness, it has been embraced by the organizations, okay, or institutions. Okay, so this is the impact of the social and cultural forces. Next, environmental forces. How environmental forces impact the change process? Climate change, for instance. Okay, so what happens that push for sustainable practices in response to climate change. See, climate is, I mean, there is a challenge. Climatic challenge is, it is posing a challenge to all the organizations and all the countries these days. Okay, so how we have to be, we have to adopt various sustainable practices in order to meet those challenges. Okay, so for example, companies adopting green energy. Okay, these days you will see that a lot of companies, they are focusing on EVs, electric vehicles, rather than automobiles. Okay, so how, what is the requirement, why we are going to focus on the EVs? Because we want a sustainable practice. Okay, a alternative green energy. Okay, so that is why these are the environmental forces which are bringing out certain changes. Okay, now what is the impact? Impact is that various companies, various organizations, various industries, they are continuously innovating to meet these regulations. Simultaneously, they need to meet also the demand and the expectations of their customers. Okay, so by this environmental forces, there is also a change. Okay, now next is market and competitive forces. Okay, the market also plays a very important role. The competitiveness also plays a very important role. See, these days you will see that the market dynamic is continuously changing. Okay, so there's a constant pressure, there's a constant pressure on the companies, on the organizations. Okay, so what happens that it increases competition. Okay, it's a globalized world, isn't it? So once that, and the entire business scenario, the business environment, it's a competition, it's a globalized world. Okay, so what happens that the companies, okay, they are competing with a lot of giants who are well established. So these days you will see that in the Indian scenario particularly, there are a lot of startups. Okay, they are participating with the companies who are technical giants. Okay, global giants, Amazon, Uber. Okay, Uber, for example, Ola. Okay, Ola is a competitor. Okay, Amazon, for example, Flipkart. Okay, so these are like, they all started like a startup, and now they are competing with major giants, global giants. Okay, so what happens that businesses, they prioritize innovations and customer satisfaction. So you have to prioritize various kinds of innovation and various customer satisfaction. You have to meet the customer satisfaction through various kinds of innovation. Okay, so the market and the competitive forces, they also drive certain changes. Okay, next, workforce demographics. Now, what do you mean by workforce demographics? Workforce demographics means, you see, how we are going to change the workforce dynamics. Okay, so for example, a rise of millennia and Gen X workforce demanding flexibility and purpose-driven work. So, purpose-driven work means, it's like flexibility. A lot of companies these days, they are giving a lot of flexibilities. Okay, they are focusing on the qualitative work, not quantitative. Okay, it's like qualitative. Yeah, not quantitative. It's not about how many hours you're going to put in the company. It's about how many productive hours you're going to put in the company, how effective your uh, um, work is. Okay, so you see, post COVID-19, you will see that a lot of companies, they have also gone for the hybrid model. Hybrid work model means people, they can work from home, they can have a blend of working from home and working from offices. Okay, so what happens that this workforce demography, they also defines these organizational policies and structures basically. Okay, so this is the impact. Resistance as a stimulus. Resistance, okay, so what happens? Resistance to change as a driver. Okay, what happens is that internal resistance often necessitates better communication and strategies. So if there is a resistance from from the internal side, okay, from an internally, if there is a resistance, then what happens? There is a, why it is, what becomes important is that there has to be better communication and better strategies has to be taken into consideration, rather than if there is a external resistance. See, there was a farmer protest in India. Okay, few years back, if you see, there was a massive farmer protest. So what happens? The farmer protest in India, it led to policy evaluation. So whatever policy has been undertaken, that made the government to reevaluate all the policies, which led uh, just because of the farmer protest. There was a massive farmer protest in India. Yeah. So what is the impact of that? Impact is that it encourages participative approach and innovation. You have to have participative approach, and certain innovation has to be taken into consideration when we are talking about resistance as a stimulus, right? Okay. Yeah. So with this, we have come to the conclusion. Okay. So if you summarize it, okay, so summarize means it's embracing change. You have to embrace change whatsoever. We cannot resist change. If you are resisting change, maybe to certain extent, but you will see that there will be change at a later stage. Uh, but we have to reevaluate whether that change is positive or whether that is fruitful for us. Okay, so what happens is that if you are summarizing I have summarized it in a three different points. The first one is change is driven by multiple interconnected force. So change is not a single force is responsible for a change, but rather there are a lot of interconnected multiple forces are being involved when there is a change process. Okay, next, Indian organization must proactively adapt to this stimulant. So Indian organizations, particularly all the startups, all the companies, all the institutions who are based in India, they need to proactively adapt to these kinds of stimulants. Okay, which I mean, is going to push the changes, embrace the changes. Okay. Next, the ability to embrace and manage change determines long-term success. How we are going to the way or the ability of ours, how we are going to embrace and how we are going to manage those changes. Okay, that determines how long we are going to go, how far we are going to go, what will be the productivity of our organization if we are going to embrace and manage those changes. So that becomes one of the effective way of determining our organizational success. Okay, if we're looking at a quote, we'll see John F. Kennedy. Okay, what he has said, he said that change is the law of life. Those who look only toward the past or present are certain to miss the future. Definitely change, we know what happened in the past, we know what is happening in the present, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So change is the law of life. Okay, so if we are looking only to the past, or if we are looking only to the present, we are definitely going to miss the future. Okay, so that was been said by John F. Kennedy. Okay, so thank you very much. I believe we have covered all the sections relating to this particular session. I believe you all have understood. Okay. However, if you have any doubt, please feel free to contact me. Okay. Thank you very much and have a very good day. Okay. Thank you.